Audrey, and today for my persuasive speech, I would like to talk about the importance of sex education in schools. Thinking back to high school, can you remember your sex education class? Also, how many classmates do you know of were pregnant, or were you possibly pregnant yourself? I myself was a teen mom. I graduated high school 5 months pregnant with my first child, so I would like to explain why sex education is important to be taught in schools around the United States. For one, teen pregnancy rates could reduce drastically. Second, it's a great way to prevent STDs among teens. And lastly, sex education would help give a better understanding to gender identity and sexual orientation. Like I had mentioned, I am a teen mom, and I can tell you there wasn't much information given to me about sex, especially by educated professionals at my school. If you were to talk to other teen moms or currently pregnant teens, they would probably be able to say the same thing. In the Netherlands, however, their pregnancy rate is one of the lowest compared to the United States. The reason for this is because they start sex education as early as elementary school. They use age-appropriate education through each school year, and Dutch sex education is non-judgmental. They encourage masturbation and all forms of sexuality. Even without this sort of education in the United States, we are at a record low for teen pregnancies by 48% since the 1990s. However, the U.S. is still one of the highest in ratings. At least 81% of high school students in Texas were sexually active in 2013. Also, PowerToDecide.org statistics showed there were around 29,765 births to teen mothers in 2016. Even though sex education is sorely lacking in the U.S., there are still some taught in schools. According to AdvocatesForYouth.org, only 25 states mandate that sex education, if taught, must include abstinence. Those abstinent-only programs which censor information about condoms are the most popular types taught. Some school districts leave sex education up to the parents to teach their kids, but then some parents want to leave it up to the school to teach their children, or sometimes they believe it just isn't important, leaving students without any form of sex ed. For myself, I made sure to talk to my kids early about puberty and about sex. I wanted to make sure that they are getting correct information and are aware that they are able to talk to me about anything. If proper sex education was at least taught by either parents or school educators, then it would help with the prevention of sexually transmitted diseases, or STDs. Most everyone has a natural urge to engage in sex, and unfortunately, abstinence-only programs are not consistent in keeping teens from engaging in sexual activity. If we were to at least teach students about condoms and how to properly use them, that would cut down on STDs. Also, if we taught how STDs are contracted and transmitted, then it would help anyone thinking about proper protection prior to engaging in sexual activity. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, adolescents aged 15 to 24 account for almost half of 20 million new cases of STDs each year. As if that's not shocking enough, about 4 in 10 sexually active teen girls have a deadly STD, and even young gay and bisexual males ages 13 to 24 accounted for 19% of new HIV infections in the year 2010. The LGBT community is making great strides with acceptance today. However, with better sex education, even more respect could be made, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. As a mom of a teen girl who identifies as a pansexual, it is only natural that I worry about how she will be accepted by others. As strong of an individual that she is, I know there is a chance of discrimination and harassment from her peers. According to AdvocatesForYouth.org, 82% of LGBTQ youth have experienced harassment, and of that, 38% have experienced physical harassment. In Texas, there are no laws in effect for anti-harassment or non-discrimination for sexual orientation and gender identity. Earlier I mentioned there are a few sex education programs taught, but in those programs they exclude the LGBTQ youth. Only 12 states require a discussion of sexual orientation, and of those, 3 of them require negative and inaccurate information to be taught to students. And according to sexetc.org, there is a Don't Say Gay law restricting teachers and staff from talking about any LGBTQ issues and people. This type of teaching and leaving the LGBTQ youth out of the discussion implies they are abnormal and not worthy of inclusion. This type of exclusion can cause harm and confusion. However, proper sex education programs would include information on many forms of sexuality. With that type of inclusion, sex education would help teach students that sex is perfectly normal. It would instill in youth that everyone has a right to decide when they're ready. And not only that, but a healthy sex education would help promote positive body image and help raise confidence. That concludes my presentation. I hope that I was able to show how important proper sex education in schools is in order to prevent teen pregnancy, decrease the spreading of STDs, and also help the understanding of sexual orientation and gender identity. Sexual education should not be a taboo subject in schools. It's something that should be widely accepted in order to promote healthy lives. Thank you.